the Attorney General has received the answer, and I talked to him and he confirmed that on Tuesday he would be ready to come and respond to the issues as they were raised. So, yes, Honorable Sarira.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank you. There are two issues here. When the Honorable Semuju raised the issue of the arrest of Dr. Besigye, the kidnapping in the real terms, government undertook to come and make a statement, and that is the statement, Madam Speaker, you are referring to. The Attorney General was here yesterday, and he said he would make the statement today. The issue being raised by Honorable Francis Mwijuche is very different. It's about the rights of prisoners, specifically Dr. Besigye. You recall, the Minister for Internal Affairs, General David Muhoozi, was here giving an explanation, which in our view was very unsatisfactory. Right, Honourable Speaker, Mwijuche has been to Luzira as a political prisoner. I have been to Luzira as a political prisoner. Semuju there has been to prison as a political prisoner. A good number of us this side, I have been there as political prisoners. What is happening now in Luzira of subjecting Dr. Besigye to cage discussion? You are this way, there is a cage, is that side, is completely alien in Luzira. Anybody who has been there knows. So, right on Speaker, the issue we wanted to understand is whether there is a policy shift in as far as visiting and interacting with the prisoners is concerned, especially with regard to Dr. Besigye. That is the issue, right on Speaker, that perhaps, and not the Attorney General, the Minister for Internal Affairs should come and state whether there is a policy shift. Because since time immemorial, we've been going to Luzira, we've been there as prisoners, and we've been interacting with the people who come to visit us, not in a caged form, but in a free environment. Right on Speaker, if Dr. Besigye dies in prison, God forbid, it will send a very bad signal on this institution. Very bad. That something happened, we were around, and we didn't speak out. I wouldn't like, right on Speaker, to be under your tenure that a leading opposition politician, who, by the way, as we celebrate 39 years of the NRM, one of the people who brought this government in power, that is dying in the regime he facilitated to come to power. It will be really very unfortunate. So, right on Speaker, you can do us a lot of service if you authorize the necessary committee of Parliament to visit Luzira and undertake an investigation on this matter and come and report. Parliament would have discharged this obligation. I thank you, right on Speaker.
Thank you. Lob.
Right, Honourable Speaker, it's good that now we have government present. I was in the office attending to a couple of engagements, but as following. But my space was not vacant. The Chief Opposition Whip was present and the rest of the team. That's how governments operate. It's very important that we be that organized. So yes, specific ministers or the Prime Minister might be away, but government should take Parliament serious. So when I saw the adjournment for 20 minutes, I was disappointed that for the umpteenth time, because we have done this several times, that you get disappointed and frustrated, the front bench is vacant, you suspend the House. But now that government is back, Right Honourable Speaker, I don't want to think that the Attorney General and the Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs is trying to dodge these critical issues that we are raising of human rights violations. The Deputy Attorney General was here yesterday. He told us he had written to Parliament to get information of the concerns we raised about Dr. Kizza Besigye. And he was meant to give us feedback. Now they are all absent. Honourable Speaker, government is now present. And government is the one detaining Dr. Kizza Besigye. So government should be able to be answerable to this issue. Honourable Speaker, what happens if the Attorney General is called again next week on Tuesday to State House or wherever for an urgent, I don't know what? Does government not remain present? Because government is here and it is represented, and they should be answerable to these issues. Right, Honorable Speaker, we were here paying tribute to Honorable Segirinya, and we raised concerns about how this House let down Honorable Segirinya. He was denied bail. We raised those concerns. The presiding officers, he told us, those are matters of court. We said, but the man is sick. Eventually, he was granted bail. He was rearrested outside prisons. We brought the matter here, Right Honorable Speaker. As presiding officers, he told us that matter is in court. But we let the man down. He eventually died because we could not stand up for one of our own. Right Honorable Speaker, are we waiting for you to announce to us that Dr. Kizza Besigye, former, because he was in the Constituent Assembly, former minister and all these different things, then you tell us to stand up, observe a moment of silence, to pay tribute to him? Are we waiting for that? Because even Tuesday, one of the concerns about Dr. Kizza Besigye is food. The last we checked, they have denied him food from his family because he has concerns and he's entitled to that. Any day that passes by without these issues being addressed, it puts his life in jeopardy. Are we waiting for that very critical time when tables have turned and then we are here saying all manner of things, rest in peace? Right, Honorable Speaker, we have let down too many people. Let's not let down Dr. Kizza Besigye as well.
Thank you. Honorable Semju.
Mr. Speaker, when we are talking about matters of rights, I see no appetite from the NRM to participate. The other day you saw how Honorable Akamba was arrested, not even like a chicken thief. Grabbed. The tendency from my experience here is for our colleagues from NRM to think violations are limited to us. I told you here at the beginning of this parliament, I was in B2 in Maxon, where former Vice President Gilbert Bukenya had been arrested, where the Honorable Jim Mwezi had been arrested, the Honorable Mike Mukula, Vice Chairman of NRM, had been arrested. You need to understand how President Museveni works. Many of you, one by one, you will find yourself in prison. You can sit here comfortably because they are talking about Besigye, his opposition. That Besigye we are talking about was the one treating Museveni. Near Museveni died in Ruwero. But Besigye tweeted him. This is how he's paying him. This is how he will pay you. You can pretend.
Thank you, Honorable Semuju, for giving way. When we were passing the Public Order Management Act, that time, I remember the architects thought it was going to apply to members on this side. But as fate would have it, the architects of that law were the first victims.
Thank you very much. In fact, I was grabbed from here and dragged by police for protesting. The Honorable Mamambaz complained here why I was not taken to the disciplinary committee of parliament. I saw him on TV being grabbed by the collar in Ginger. So this is a very serious matter. When rights are, that's universal. Mr. Speaker, I raised here the issue of Dr. Besigye being kidnapped from Nairobi, where he had gone to attend the book launch of the Honorable Martha Karua. That is more than, it was on December, it was November. 2 months later, the statement hasn't been brought. The Honorable Mwijuche is raising the issue of continuing to violate his rights even when he's in prison. The Attorney General has been summoned, the Deputy, I don't know, has gone where, and all these good people are just looking at us. So why are you in government if you are of no value to Parliament? That they are raising issues. I have seen the Honorable Nankabirwa here when she was Chief Whip. Every matter you raised, she would excuse herself for 5 minutes and she brings an answer. Today they are all seated. Wait for your day.
Honorable colleagues, number one, I want first to clarify. It's very unfortunate that we give you a platform to speak. Then you accuse it, you use it to accuse Parliament that we are not speaking. But who speaks for Parliament? It's you. It's you. This is number two. I don't know whether you want me. Okay, I think we can pick Honorable Kor. Honorable, who you go, you raid Ruzira, you pick out a person on behalf of Parliament, and then it goes on record Parliament we did. You know? Huh? Oh, sorry, not Akor. Akor is a dangerous one, we shouldn't involve him. Okay? I would send Honorable Zake. Then instead of Akor. Because, now, so, honorable colleagues, we have, I remember the time of Honorable Segirinya, which you're talking about. Honorable here, Mpuga, came here, presented a comparing case, and we sent a committee. So, on this one, what I'm going to do, and I want to clarify for the Attorney General, we gave an assignment to the Attorney General and Finance on NDP4, and their meeting was today. He briefed me because they have issues which we raised here that must be concluded upon. It's the Deputy Attorney General who has sent me to the President over some matters. So what I'm going to do, since they are coming on Tuesday to present a statement with regard to what Honorable Atkins was talking about yesterday, I have consulted with the Chairperson Committee on Human Rights. Let the Committee on Human Rights go visit Dr. Besje tomorrow. Okay, and they make a report which should come on Tuesday, so that once we are debating the statement from government, we also debate a statement, the report of the committee. Honorable Nankabra, I hope, colleague, that settles us for now. Yes, let us send the committee, and then tomorrow, it will go tomorrow, and report back on Tuesday.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I'm standing here to really apologize on behalf of my colleagues who were not available when the House started. We will try as much as possible to make sure that we get more coordinated, such that at least every ministry is represented in the House. Secondly, I have listened to my colleagues who in their submissions were hitting on a matter that supposing Dr. Kiza Besigye dies. I just want to stand here and declare that we are going to pray. Yes. We pray for Dr. Kiza Besigye. I seek for your protection. Yes.
Honourable Minister, you're on record. The rest are not on record.
Okay. I am just standing here as Canon Dr. Ruth Nankabirwa to declare that we shall pray that God protects Dr. Kiza Besigye and that justice be done unto him. I am going to speak to my colleagues. I have listened what the colleagues have raised, such that come Tuesday, a satisfying answer is given to this House regarding Dr. Kiza Besigye's plea. I wanted to be on record that we will pray. God forbid, because I've listened to leader of opposition talking about supposing he dies, God knows what will happen. But my prayer is that Dr. Kiza Besigye is safe and that justice is done.
Thank you. Now, Chairman Committee on Human Rights, I think you've picked what the members were raising. Your focus tomorrow will be limited to the detention condition, because they are saying he's denied of his rights. They have put special conditions on him and all that. Okay? So we want to know whether Dr. Besigye is not being held under conditions that are similar to other procedures that are used in the prison. Thank you. Procedure, Honorable Mpuga.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I'm raising a procedural issue because I didn't want to convolute the debate that has been concluded. But as a matter of reminder to the House, that the time you gave the Minister of Defense and Internal Affairs, these two ministers, to come and report on the missing 18 has since lapsed. The time was given in November. May you compel them to report next week on the same matter so that we handle them concurrently, right, Honorable Speaker?
Sure. Next item, Sonia Watkins. Yeah.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I really want to thank you for your leadership, because leadership is the ability to identify a problem and prescribe a solution before it becomes a crisis. Mr. Speaker, sir, this morning, somebody that was following up what I've been raising and other colleagues, this morning it is a member here. For privacy, I'm not really gonna sound out her name. Was in a hospital yesterday, in prison, and had a chance to get to Luzira. I'm meant to understand that Dr. Besige had a health condition yesterday and it was throwing up blood. I appreciate that the committee and the leadership of the committee will go to Luzira hospital, prison tomorrow, but I want to be sure, because everything else, Mr. Speaker, can wait, but not life. I want to be sure that when the committee membership go to Luzira, they'll find my president, Dr. Besige, alive. In that matter, I want, Mr. Speaker, if it pleases you, that you provide leadership that a medical team recommended by Dr. Besige's family himself go check on my president in Luzira so that we have the assurance that the committee membership will find my leader alive. Mr. Speaker, sir, I really appreciate your leadership on that. Thank you.
So, honorable colleagues, you see, we are seated in positions of responsibility and power, but there is where we stop. Really, my authority here stops somewhere. I don't think I have the authority to order that doctors recommended by the family should go, and I think what we've done, honorable colleagues, the Committee on Human Rights has both opposition and government side, okay, and the ruling side. And I really, really have hope. Dr. Besige has survived the road. I don't think he will just die tonight, okay? Let's pray for him. Let's pray for him. We all wish him the best. So the best we can do is to ensure that indeed our committee goes there tomorrow. And whatever they find, we shall be in touch with the committee and the leadership of government. If there is anything urgent which the committee finds, they will link up with me immediately and we shall interlink with the executive to see which action can be taken. Colleagues, really, on this matter, I request we go. But it's a matter you've ruled upon.
Yeah. Mr. Speaker, my fear, your ruling seemed to limit the Committee on Human Rights. When Council Aaron Chiza was dragged and beaten, I was happy when I saw the tweet attributed to Honorable Fox. I am only praying that you don't limit them. They need to look at all the issues surrounding this matter. If you get lawyers beaten the way, and he was very angry in his tweet, can you allow them to go beyond just the prison, in accordance with the rules, so that they deal with all these issues?
You see, you are going to open it, and the committee will request for 45 days. For 30 days. We have an urgent matter, which you've brought here. You have said Dr. Besige is caged. You have said Dr. Besige is denied food from his own people and medication. And you're saying this is contrary to prison procedures. Okay? So, and we are saying no. Committee go verify that quickly. Then if the committee finds they need to go beyond that scope, they will come and report back here on Tuesday and we can allow them. to go beyond. Oh, yes, Honorable Segona, finally.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I am very happy with your guidance. Very, very happy. And I'm not revisiting that. I only want to join Canon Dr. Ruth Nankabirwa in prayer that people who behave inhuman come back to God. Number two, Mr. Speaker, with regard to the issue raised by the Honorable Matthias Mpuga of the missing 18, I was again happy with your ruling and guidance. But being a slave of the law, I just wanted to invite you to find pleasure in revisiting and make the order more positive and instructive, because your answer was sure, sure, and in the rules there will be difficulty on the part of Dr. Nankabirwa, who is going to communicate with her absent or ever delinquent colleagues, and also for the Hansard. May I invite you to direct that the ministers come here on Tuesday and bring a report on the missing 18, some of whom we understand have lost their eyes, one has lost his limb. And if I'm telling a lie, let them be produced with their eyes and limbs. Thank you very much.
Sure, sure. Yeah. Let the minister come on Tuesday, okay? On Tuesday, so that we can handle these issues, okay? And we have them out of the way since they are interrelated. Sure, sure. Next item.
Item 5 on the order paper. Motion that the House to resolve itself into a committee of supply to consider supplementary expenditure schedule number 1 for the financial 2024-2025 pursuant to Article 156(2) of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, Section 25 of the Public Finance Management Act 2015, and Rule 153 of the Rules of Procedure.
Minister of Finance.
Schedule number 1 for financial year 2024-2025 pursuant to Article 156(2) of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, Section 25 of the Public Finance Management Act 2015, and Rule 153 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament. I beg to move. Right.
The motion is seconded. Honorable Nankabirwa, Honorable Mejachi, Honorable Mirama, Honorable Solomon, Honorable Nandutu, Honorable Alejo, Honorable Julius, Obiga Rose, Joan Nokia, Susan Amero, Emmanuel Rongisto, Musana. Hey, all of you, and the whole NRM side.
All the MRMs.
Honorable Minister, would you want to speak to your motion?
Mr. Speaker, sir, and colleagues, the supplementary expenditure schedule 1 for financial year 2024-2025 amounts to Uganda shillings 1.051 trillion, which is 1.46% of the approved budget for financial year 2024-2025. The supplementary was issued for number 1, revoting of funds for the World Bank funded projects of Uganda Intergovernmental Fiscal Transfer and Uganda Support to Municipal Infrastructure Development USMAID, shortfalls on wage and salaries. 3, critical government policy commitments that cannot be postponed. And 4, expenditure on peace and security, international commitments, as well as supporting the economy, fostering economic recovery. Right Honorable Speaker and members, The supplementary Schedule 1 for 2024-2025 will be funded from additional non-tax revenue. I want to repeat this one. The supplementary Schedule 1 will be funded from additional non-tax revenue, not tax revenue. 2, additional borrowing. And 3, we have already committed external financing in our framework. Mr. Speaker, I beg to submit.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable Chair, Committee on Budget, kindly present your report. Yes, procedure matter, Shadow Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, the substantive chair of the committee is not around. The vice is steering the committee. The procedural issue I have, as he comes here to make a presentation, he also appointed a vice who is now chairing the budget committee, continuing with the budget framework paper. I am a member of the budget committee. When we are presenting here, Mr. Speaker, I think it is irregular for the committee to continue transacting business, yet the same committee is presenting here. Because what the members do who want to contribute or want to follow, they can't be in two places.
Yeah, I think that indeed, Chair, do you have any meeting going on of the committee? Because the committee should be here to receive, to present the report.
We had broken off for lunch, and maybe I think I will have to find out whether there are some members in the...
Yeah, in case there is any ongoing meeting, let all members come here.
Okay, great.
Okay? Yeah. Clerk coordinate that. Let the clerk coordinate that. Continue presenting the report. The clerk can coordinate that. So for us, we are not privy to what the committee is doing outside. So thank you for alerting that.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for that guidance. Mr. Speaker, I have here the report of the Budget Committee on supplementary expenditure schedule number 1 for the financial year 2024-25, dated January 2025. Before I go to the report, Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay the minutes and documents that we have in processing this supplementary expenditure on table. Mr. Speaker, and honorable members, on the 19th of December 2024, the Minister of Finance presented to Parliament a supplementary expenditure number 1 of 2024-25 amounting to 1.05 trillion, as highlighted in the table below on the screen. It consists a sum that is lesser than 3% of the legal limit of the total approved budget of the Ugandan shilling 72.136 trillion for the financial year 24-25. Total supplementary expenditure request consumes 0.74 trillion in terms of recurrent expenditure and 0.308 trillion in terms of development expenditure. Mr. Speaker, the methodology is the usual. The stakeholders interacted with include the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, all the accounting officers of MDA seeking approval of the supplementary therein, and the legal framework is as per Article 156(2) of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, which states that if in respect of any financial year, it is found that the amount appropriated for any purpose under the Appropriation Act is insufficient, or that a need has arisen for expenditure for a purpose for which no amount has been appropriated by that act, or that any monies are being expended
for any purpose in excess of the amount appropriated for that purpose, or for a purpose for which no amount has been appropriated for by that act, a supplementary estimate showing the sums required or spent shall be laid down before Parliament within 4 months of the money being spent. The above article is operationalized under Section 25 of the Public Finance Management Act as amended, which states as follows. The total supplementary expenditure that requires additional resources over and above what is approved by Parliament shall not exceed 3% of the total approved budget for that financial year without approval of Parliament. Number 2, where funds are expended under subsection 1, supplementary estimates showing the sum spent shall be laid before Parliament within 4 months after the money is spent. Furthermore, Regulation 1856 and 7 of the Public Finance Management Act 2016 provides also as follows. 5. Parliament may approve a supplementary appropriation, or the Minister may approve a supplementary budget, as the case may be, where the supplementary expenditure is unavoidable or unforeseeable. 6. For the purpose of this regulation, unavoidable means an expenditure that cannot be postponed to the next financial year through virement. Unforeseeable does not include any expenditure that was foreseeable by the vote at the time of preparation of the budget of the vote, or an expenditure that should have been included in the budget of the vote. 7. Any expenditure which is in excess of the appropriated budget of vote, which is not in accordance with this section, shall be treated as a loss of public funds as provided for under Section 79(1) of this Act. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, according to Rule 153(2) of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament, the supplementary estimates presented to Parliament shall clearly spell out the source of funding for the supplementary request for each vote. And the table 2, Mr. Speaker, shows the sources of funding for this supplementary. It is from additional external financing, escrow account in Stanbic Bank, local revenue, local government, NTR, and others. Committee observations and recommendations. Part 1 is funded supplementary. That is Uganda shillings 97.263 billion. Vote 003, Office of the Prime Minister. Uganda shillings 12.635 billion. The committee observed that Uganda shillings 12.35 billion was requested by the Office of the Prime Minister for the development response to displacement impacts project, which is being implemented, whose implementation ended on the 30th of June 2024, but was given an extension to enable beneficiary institutions to complete the activities that were pending. Unfortunately, this money was swept back at the end of the financial year, so we had to approve this money, but we are voting it back. Accordingly, World Bank released funds for completion of the project in order to meet the deadline of the October 2024. The committee recommends approval of 12.63 billion to vote 003, Office of the Prime Minister, for this purpose. Vote 007, Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. That requires 24.102 billion. The committee observes that Uganda shillings 24.102 billion was requested by the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs for the completion of the first phase of the construction of the Justice Law and Order Services House in Naguru. The committee was informed that in order to complete the first phase of the construction, the institutions which will be housed therein resolved to contribute funds from within their budgets to ensure timely completion by December 2024. These institutions include Directorate of Public Prosecution, Judicial Service Commission, Law Reform Commission, Uganda Human Rights Commission, Tax Appeals Tribunal, and budget support to the Justice, Law and Order Services sector allocation. These institutions contributed a total of Uganda shillings 19.049 billion and an extra Uganda shillings 6.035 billion was contributed by the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. The committee therefore recommends approval of this money, 24.102 billion, to vote 007 Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs for the above purpose. Number 3, Mr. Speaker and colleagues, vote 012 Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development needs Uganda shillings 25.577 billion. The committee observes that Uganda shillings 25.57 billion was provided for external financing for competitiveness and enterprise development project, which officially closed on the 3rd of November 2024, and the World Bank disbursed funds for completion of the project. So even here we are voting back that money. And the funds support adjudication and demarcation of land, registration and issuance of land titles, the design and rollout of the land valuation management information system, the enhancement and rollout of the National Land Information System, the establishment of operating reference stations, and Uganda Geodetic Reference Framework, and construction of an additional floor at the National Land Information Center. Colleagues, the committee recommends approval of this money, 25.577 billion, to vote 012 Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development for the above purpose. Number 4, vote 013 Ministry of Education and Sports, Uganda shillings 1.531 billion. The committee observes that during finalization of the budget for financial year 24-25 and following the approved policy on management of all education institutions at college level, it was agreed that these institutions should be centrally managed by Ministry of Education and Sports. However, during the finalization of the budget, the wage budget of Uganda shillings 1.53 billion of Nakawa Vocational College, which was under KCCA, was not transferred to the Ministry of Education and Sports. This has therefore necessitated a supplementary of the equivalent amount to the ministry to be funded from existing allocation under KCCA. So we are moving money from KCCA to the Ministry of Education. The committee recommends approval of 1.531 billion to vote 013 Ministry of Education and Sports for the above purpose. Number 5, vote 119 Uganda Registration Services Bureau, Uganda shillings 872.52 million. The committee observed that Uganda URSB is a member of the African Regional Intellectual Property Organization, ARIPO. And ARIPO has provided budget support to URSB equivalent to Uganda shillings 872.52 million to support activities related to strengthening of the intellectual property rights. The committee recommends approval of this money to vote 119 Uganda Registration Services for the above purpose. Number 6, vote 141 Uganda Revenue Authority, Uganda shillings 15 billion. Right, Honorable Speaker and colleagues, the committee observes that URA requires 15 billion for the full and final payout of court settlement of matters between Mr. John Imaniraguha, Fuelex Uganda Limited and URA. This will be paid from available garnished funds held in Stanbic Bank. The committee recommends approval of this money for the above purpose. Vote 311 Law Development Center, 6.48 billion. The committee observes that commencing from financial year 24-25, government will implement a new policy in which LDC will have 2 intakes. In order to implement this policy and provide for the second intake to cater for 1,643 applicants in January 2025, LDC will require Uganda shillings 6.48 billion, which will be raised through tuition forecast at Uganda shillings 9.85 billion. This has necessitated a supplementary expenditure of Uganda shillings 6.48 billion to cater for the cost of running the institution, including wages, salaries, allowances, and operational expenses. The committee recommends approval of Uganda shilling 6.848 billion to vote 311 Law Development Center. Number 8, vote 312 Uganda Management Institute, Uganda shilling 2.816 billion. The committee observations. A. During the finalization of the wage bill for 24-25, UMI received an additional allocation of 1.328 billion for harmonization of salaries of public universities. However, the additional allocation was inadvertently captured under vote 311 Law Development Center, LDC. As such, there was need for the transfer to enable UMI fully harmonize salaries for its staff. And B, during finalization of the budget for financial year 24-25, UMI was allocated gratuity amounting to 5.107 billion. However, due to variations in the time of contract commencement, the actual gratuity requirement is less than the allocated budget. Given that the vote is projecting a shortfall on emoluments to associate professors who are not on the payroll, the vote requested for a transfer of Uganda shillings 1.487 billion from gratuity to allowances to cater for emoluments of part-time associate professors and also clear outstanding employee obligations during this financial year 24-25. The committee recommends approval of 2.816 billion to vote 1312 Uganda Management Institute. Number 9, votes ranging from 601 to 935 local governments, 8.250 billion. The committee observes that various local governments realize additional local revenues that require them to seek a supplementary expenditure approval. The details are in Annex 1. There are a number of districts and local governments therein. The committee recommends approval of Uganda shillings 8.25 billion to votes from 600 to 935 local governments as highlighted in Annex 1. Now, Part 2. Part 2 is supplementary that requires additional Government of Uganda funding, and it totals to 953.345 billion. Colleagues, number 10, vote 002, State House, shilling 234.75 billion. The committee observes that Uganda shilling 234.75 billion is required by State House for classified expenditure. The committee recommends approval of this money to vote 002 State House. Number 11, vote 003 Office of the Prime Minister, Uganda shilling 4.4 billion. The committee observations are as follows. 1, Uganda shilling 2 billion to cater for shortfalls in the Sustainable Development Goals SDG Secretariat activities, such as the conference scheduled for April 2025, presentation of the SG progress reports and other thematic reports, and strengthen localization and popularization of SDGs and Agenda 2063. And 2, Uganda shillings 2.4 billion for activities leading to implementation of the Executive Order number 3 of 2023 to be implemented under the Northern Uganda Rehabilitation Program. Executive Order number 3 of 2023 was issued to implement the anti-cattle rustling efforts in northeastern Uganda, mitigation of damage to the environment by the charcoal business, and the damage caused by the balalo. The committee recommends approval of Uganda shillings 4.4 billion to vote 003 Office of the Prime Minister. Number 12, vote 006 to Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Uganda shillings 488.205 million. The committee observes that Uganda shillings 488.205 million was required by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for contributions to the Commonwealth Secretariat. This was to ensure Uganda honors its commitments to Commonwealth Secretariat and enable Uganda's effective participation in the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, SHOGAM, which took place in Apia, Samoa from the 21st to the 26th of October 2024. Right, Honorable Speaker and colleagues, the committee recommends approval of 488.205 million to vote 006, Ministry of Foreign Affairs. 13, vote 008, Ministry of Finance, Plan and Economic Development, Uganda shilling 6.311 billion. The committee observed that Uganda shilling 6.301 billion was required by the Ministry for operational shortfalls for Uganda Telecom Limited, UTEL, which is a requirement for the administrator to release the land titles to facilitate financial closure of UTEL investor. The committee recommends approval of Uganda 6.311 billion to vote 008, Ministry of Finance, Plan and Economic Development. Number 14, Ministry of Works and Transport, 50 billion. The committee observed that 50 billion was required by the Ministry for the completion of the rehabilitation of the Tororo-Gulu Railway Line project, the meter gauge railway. The committee recommends approval of Uganda shillings 50 billion to vote 016, Ministry of Works and Transport for the above purpose. Number 15, vote 018, Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development. Uganda shillings 4.882 billion. Right, Honorable Speaker and colleagues, the committee observations. 1. Uganda shillings 3.038 billion is required to meet the shortfalls for hosting the Atake Reunion Festival, which took place in Isoroti. The funds were to cater for accommodation and the attendant facilitation of the VVIPs invited to the festival. 2. Uganda shillings 1.292 billion is required to meet statutory expenditure and operational expenditures for subventions under the ministry such as social assistance grants for empowerment, youth livelihood program, Uganda entrepreneurship program, operations of the National Women Council. 3. Uganda shillings 551.61 million is required for contribution to the Commonwealth Youth Program. This was to ensure Uganda honors commitment to the program and enable effective participation in the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting Shogam, which was held in Apia, Sama in October 2024. The committee recommends approval of 4.882 billion to vote 018, Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development. Number 16, vote 020, Ministry of ICT and National Guidance. Uganda shilling 11.33 billion. The committee observes that Uganda shilling 11.33 billion is required in order to facilitate the ministry to facilitate wage requirements and operational shortfalls for Uganda Broadcasting Corporation. UBC was not provided funds in the budget for financial year 24-25 for these wage requirements and operational shortfalls. The committee recommends approval of 11.33 billion to vote 020, Ministry of ICT and National Guidance as subvention to UBC. Vote 17, vote 023, Ministry of Kampala, Capital City and Metropolitan Affairs. Uganda shilling 7.36 billion. The committee observed that Uganda shilling 7.3 billion is required to facilitate the operations and coordination of the Greater Kampala Metropolitan Affairs JKMA Urban Development Project with the detailed designs for roads, markets, and the coordination of the metropolitan physical planning in JKMA. The committee recommends approval of this money to vote 023, Ministry of Kampala, Capital City and Metropolitan Affairs. Vote 106, Uganda Human Rights Commission. Uganda shillings 10.4 billion. The committee observed that Uganda shillings 10.4 billion is required for operational shortfalls such as NSSF and contractual allowances, fixed costs, complaints management, research, and civic education. The committee recommends approval of 10.4 billion to vote 106, Uganda Human Rights Commission. Vote 107, Uganda AIDS Commission. Uganda shillings 2 billion. The committee observes that Uganda shillings 2 billion is required for shortfalls on counterpart funding for Uganda Country Coordinating Mechanism for the Global Fund, UCCM, for awareness creation activities. The committee recommends approval of this 2 billion to vote 107 Uganda AIDS Commission. Number 20, vote 130 treasury operations, Uganda shilling 53.119 billion. The committee observes that Uganda shilling 53.119 billion is required for promissory note obligations on completion of Luba Hospital. The committee recommends approval of 53.11 billion to vote 130 treasury operations, Luba Hospital. Number 21, vote 131, Office of the Auditor General, 3.245 billion. The committee observes that Uganda shilling 3.245 billion is required for post-retirement benefits for the former Auditor General. The committee recommends approval of Uganda shilling 3.245 billion to vote 131, Office of the Auditor General, as retirement benefits for the former Auditor General. Number 22, vote 146, Public Service Commission, shillings 4.4 billion. The committee observed that Public Service Commission needs 4.4 billion for the implementation of rationalization of agencies and public expenditure. The committee recommends approval of 4.4 billion to vote 146 for Public Service Commission. Number 23, vote 158, Internal Security Organization, Uganda shillings 19.616 billion. The committee observes that money is required to cater for outstanding domestic areas over the 3 financial years from financial year 2021-22 to date. The committee recommends approval of 19.616 billion to vote 158, Internal Security Organization. Number 24, vote 301, Makerere University, Uganda shillings 8.856 billion. The committee observes that Uganda shillings 8.856 billion is required to cater for living out allowances for government-sponsored students. The committee recommends approval of 8.856 billion to vote 301 Makerere University to pay living out allowances for government-sponsored students. Number 25, vote 515 Uganda Embassy in Japan, Tokyo, 800 million. The committee observes that 800 million is required for rent shortfalls. The embassy shifted to a better premise following a directive by the Right Honorable Prime Minister, but the rent requirement was higher by 800 million. The committee recommends approval of the 800 million to vote 515 Uganda Embassy in Japan, Tokyo. It's million. 800 million, not billion. In my paper, it is millions.
Honorable colleagues, in the end, what matters is the money we shall supply. My records are very
Number 26, wage shortfalls across board was Uganda shillings 194.241 billion. The committee observes that the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development received additional requests to meet wage shortfalls for both central and local government votes. Annexure 2 contains the details of local governments and central government MDAs that need this money. This followed the Auditor General's report on the special audit of the payroll, presidential directive to enhance the wages of scientists, and other critical requirements. The committee recommends approval of Uganda shillings 194.241 billion to various central and local government votes as highlighted in Annex 2. 27, funding for non-tax revenue enhancement, Uganda shillings 1.298 billion. The committee was informed by the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, reviewed the non-tax revenue performance of various MDAs and noted that provision of additional 152.98 billion to these MDAs will enable those votes to collect 400 billion to support the budget. Of these, 152.98 billion. In addition, the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development has made the attainment of NTR revenue projections as a requirement in the performance contracts of accounting officers for the financial year 24-25. The votes are summarized below. The committee recommends approval of 152.98 billion to various central and local government votes for the purpose of helping them to enhance and collect more 400 billion to support the budget. The details are in that table. Number 28, National Water and Sewerage Corporation, Uganda shillings 14 billion. The committee observes that a number of government institutions owe the National Water and Sewerage Corporation arrears for water supplied by the institution. In order to support National Water and Sewerage Corporation operations and ensure service delivery and also reduce on the stock of arrears for water, Uganda shillings 14 billion has been provided to vote in the health sector and Uganda prisons as summarized below. The committee recommends approval of 14 billion to vote as highlighted in the table 5 below. That is to pay water for Mulago Hospital 6 billion, Jinja Referral Hospital 4 billion, Mulago Specialized Neonatal Hospital 2 billion, Uganda Prison Service 2 billion, totaling 14 billion. Number 29, votes 601 to votes 935, local governments. Uganda shillings 170.168 billion. The committee observes that 1, Uganda shillings 143.989 billion was unspent, while the unspent funds in the financial year 23-24 for the Uganda Intergovernmental Fiscal Transfers, UGF reform, and the details here, Annex 3. This is mainly for the construction of seed secondary schools, upgrade of health center 2 to health center 3, water projects, and micro-scale irrigation projects. Annex 3 has the details. 2, Uganda shillings 26.179 billion was for revoting of USMID unspent balances that were returned to the consolidated fund at the closure of the financial year 23-24. The details are in Annex 4. The committee recommends approval of Uganda shillings 170.168 billion to various local governments votes as highlighted in Annex 3 and 4. Right, Honorable Speaker and colleagues, in conclusion, I request the House to approve this supplementary expenditure under Schedule 1 for financial year 2024-25, totaling Uganda shillings 1.0506 billion, as outlined in the table 6 and 7 below, and detailed by vote in the supply schedules A, B, and C of the proposed supply schedules. I beg to submit. I beg to report.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Thank you together with your committee. Chairman, I made it to understand you have a minority report.
Right, Honorable Speaker, sorry for that omission. I should have laid on the table a minority report, which is part of the report on this very supplementary expenditure. And this was submitted by Honorable Ibrahim Nganda.
Honorable Semuju, kindly come and table your report. I don't usually see you starting reporting from the corridors as you on the walkway.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I am Semuju Ibrahim. That's the name I am known and referred to in Parliament. Nganda is my father who died recently. So you don't have Semuju Ibrahim Nganda in Parliament. You have Semuju Ibrahim. Mr. Speaker, just for emphasis, the supplementary expenditure schedule number 1 amounting to 1 trillion was laid on table on December 19th and referred to the budget committee. This supplementary is in respect of the current financial year, whose budget was 72.130 trillion. So we approved the budget of 72 trillion. We are now revising it. You, Parliament, therefore, are being asked to increase this budget to shilling 73.181 trillion. That's what we are being asked to do this afternoon. 73.181 trillion. Right, Honorable Speaker and members, we urge you not to approve this request on the following reasons. Reason number one, chaotic and unrealistic budgeting. Honorable members, in all his reports to Parliament, the Auditor General has extensively reported on total budgets passed, total warrants issued. Warrant means just the release by Minister of Finance, and the actual revenue realized to finance the budget. Last financial year, 2023-24, for example, this Parliament approved a total budget of 52.737 trillion. You were asked to revise it through supplementary request to 61.669 trillion, which you did. The Auditor General, on page 38 of the report, Mr. Speaker, that was presented to you, says only 50.172 trillion, please include the trillion, was warranted, which means was released by finance. But they ask you to revise the budget to 60. Eventually, when it came to release, they released the 50. And part of the release was air. Why? The actual money that was available for spending was 48 trillion. This means there was no money to finance the budget that you passed, you as Parliament, of 52 trillion, but we are asked to revise it to 61. A total of 11.498 trillion was not released, was not warranted by finance. But even what they claim to have released, they didn't have money to finance it. That's why the actual spending was 48. As a result of this, areas continue to accumulate, and they are providing almost perennially in every budget only 200 billion to clear the areas. In the recently released report of the Auditor General has put the figure of areas to 13.814 trillion, and which is never usually included in the public debt. It increased from 10.5 trillion the previous year. So each approval you make here, know you are committing a country, you are injuring suppliers, because in the end, the Honorable Musasis will supply air. You therefore, as Parliament, have a duty to curtail this insatiable appetite for supplementary budgets. You don't have the money to finance the budget as approved, and then you're asking Parliament to revise it upwards. Point number 2, non-compliance with the law. Right, Honorable Speaker, Section 25(6) of the Public Finance Management Act outlines the criteria for supplementary budgets, specifying that supplementary request expenditure should be, as the committee said. We are only disagreeing on the recommendation. Because you can't say, you read the things the chairman has read, and then at the end you say approve. It must be unabsorbable, where the expenditure cannot be funded through environment. The chairman noted that. Unavoidable, where expenditure that cannot be postponed to the next financial year. And unforeseeable, where expenditure was not foreseeable by the vote at the time of budget preparation, or should have been included in the original budget. Mr. Speaker, these criteria suggest that supplementary budgets are intended for unexpected and critical expenditure that could not have been anticipated or planned during the budget process. This supplementary seeks to finance activities that should have been budgeted for or can be catered for in the next budget, which we are now processing. There are many things you've had, festivities in Iteso, Ruoa, Chogam, the whole list. You go, because now, as a Parliament, you are under obligation to begin checking every request against the law and then see if it fits. That test, my committee failed. That's why I'm here to alert you. On page 326 of the Auditor General's report, the Auditor General says supplementary funding amounting to 2 trillion was not warranted, defeating the purpose for which the funds were appropriated. Even what they come here to ask as supplementary, they don't have money for it. And I will come back to this. So last financial year, all the amount of money is passed as supplementary. There was no money to finance that supplementary. And then you ask, he's asking how, do you know I'm saying Auditor General? Be attentive. Right, Honorable Speaker. The Public Finance Management Regulation is 2016 as amended. Regulation 18.1 outlines the procedure for seeking supplementary budgets, including justifications that demonstrate urgency, necessity, and compliance with legal and budgetary frameworks. While Regulation 18.2 requires ministries, departments, and agencies to justify why the expenditure could not have been reasonably foreseen or accommodated within the approved budget. The Budget Act, we can skip that. So many of the entities being given money in this supplementary don't actually meet the criteria as illustrated in the Public Finance Management Act. And I have given examples, Ministry of Gender, Human Rights, Treasury Operations, etc. The Auditor General on page 23 of his recent report notes, Regulation 18.2 of the Public Finance Management Regulations requires that an accounting officer who intends to spend money as supplementary expenditure shall request the minister's approval in writing. The Auditor General says, I noted that 185 entities received supplementary funding worth 382 billion for pension and gratuity expenditure in financial year 2023-2024 without any written requests from the accounting officers. And the committee is aware of this. We were actually supposed to have had another meeting with the Minister for Finance, which didn't happen, only to meet my colleagues signing a report. Point number 3. Ruoa Specialized Hospital. This supplementary seeks to give more money to Ruoa Specialized Hospital, being constructed by that wonderful Italian friend of President Museveni called Enrico Pinetti Milano. Money to Pinetti in this supplementary, which is 53.119 billion, is being requested for by vote 130 Treasury Operations, which is a vote primarily for debt servicing. Honourable members, government signed a promissory note purchase agreement in December 2018 with the Ministry of Health as the implementing agency. Of course, you are aware that since then this Pinetti issue was removed from Ministry of Health. It is under the office of the Prime Minister. Africa Export-Import Bank, Trade and Development Bank, Barclays Bank Limited, among others, to fund the project up to the tune of $379.7 million US. Parliament approved this funding and execution modalities in March 2018. Since then, government has paid Pinetti or Ruoa 476.4 billion. The details, I don't have to go through them, how money has been paid to Pinetti. To date, the government has redeemed 7 promissory notes with a total value face of $133.6 million US, reflecting a financial performance of 35.2% of the total project cost of $379 million. The Auditor General's report on Treasury Operations for the year ending June 2023, last year's report, highlighted concerns that although the owner's engineer issued milestone certificates based on progress reports from the contractor, the engineer faced restricted access to the construction site. Even the engineer who should be there to do your work cannot access the site. This limitation undermines their role in safeguarding the interest of both the Ministry of Health and the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development. The audit further revealed that the milestone certificates were primarily based on contractor submitted reports. So Pinetti constructs, then she writes finance, pay me, worker has reached here. And Musasi runs to Parliament, please pay. The Public Accounts Committee. The Public Accounts Committee's intergovernment, in its review of the Auditor General's report, observed that the government failed to conduct adequate due diligence on the agreements and the project overall, raising doubts about the validity of the payments relative to the work completed. The committee was unable to verify the progress of work at the site due to repeated obstruction by the project developer, by Pinetti. In light of these issues, there is a significant risk of financial loss for Ugandans. You have already put in 476 billion. Now you are being asked, please you add. And then there are colleagues who are about to add. It is recommended that the project be halted until a special audit report is completed and Parliament can deliberate on its findings. Issue number 4, State House wants 234 billion classified expenditure. This financial year, we passed a total budget of 452.2 billion for the residence of the President and his dear wife. President and his wife, because all their known children are now adults that are not catered for by the law on Presidential Emoluments and Benefits Act. These are issues of law, even if you want to be emotional about them. The law states who should benefit. State House is a creation of this law. It is a home for things like sleeping and not work. That's why the office of the President is established. The occupant of State House is expected to wake up every day and goes to President's office to work. He's not expected to turn himself into an extension work, supervising sugarcane growing in Usoga and poultry farms in Bunyoro, taking photos behind heaps of eggs. The occupants of State House are requesting 234.75 billion mbu. It is classified expenditure. That the shilling 81.6 billion you gave them in the current budget as classified expenditure has been exhausted. Because in the budget you gave them 81 billion. Now the 81 is finished. They want 234 classified. The shilling 234 billion will bring total State House budget to 686.6 billion just by halfway of the financial year. Remember, this is just the first supplementary request this financial year. Last year, we processed 3 supplementary requests, bringing total State House budget to 802 billion. If you colleagues, especially NRM, you allow this request, it will mean that you have given the occupant of State House 315 billion in classified expenditure. This residency is the only one in the world. Mind you, you will never know how this money is utilized. They account to themselves when it comes to classified expenditure. There is absolutely, I will respond to you when I am finishing. There is absolutely no doubt in our mind that part of this money is for campaign and the rest is for personal use. Someone should tell me, what classified thing does our president do in State House? And even if it were to be there, does it cost 315 billion a year? Right, Honorable Speaker. State House uses classified expenditure as a trick to increase its budget. Last financial year, take note. Parliament approved the total budget of State House 421.9 billion for State House. They increased it to 708 299.8 billion through 3 supplementaries. Total supplementary request for State House was 456 billion, bigger than the budget that you had actually passed for them. The supplementary was bigger than the budget. Classified expenditure, which is security, should be requested for by defense, police, ISO and ESO. This is one way of enriching occupants of State House. Can you imagine these fellows are swimming in money while the country's road network continues to deteriorate? In Morago, the intensive care unit has 27 beds, but only 15 are working. No money to recruit staff. But the residence has a honorable speaker, honorable members. The Chief of Defense Forces, he keeps asking, what do you know? Now listen. The Chief of Defense Forces, General Moses Kainerugaba, has already called members who sit on the Defense Committee as clowns and idiots. He also called a member of this House, the immediate Deputy CDF General Rueru, a buffoon. We need to examine how we conduct parliamentary business. This is for you. If they throw a supplementary like this that does not comply with the law and you pass it, they will reward you by calling you idiots and clowns. It is entirely up to you. I beg to move, Mr. Speaker.
That's a vintage Semujo. Thank you, Honorable. So, colleagues, we are going to have a debate which starts now. Mr. 1, 2, 3, 4. Vice Chair Park, DP, UPC, FDC. Yes, I've picked you, honorable colleagues. The ones I've picked, please. I start with you. 2 minutes each. So
thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to thank the committee for very clear report. And I would like to agree with some of the recommendations. I would like to dwell specifically on vote 601 to 935, which is on local governments, about the 170.168 billion, whereby 143.989 was unspent funds in financial year 23-24 for UGIFT. Right Honorable Speaker, in a Leptong district where I represent, we benefited from similar funding and revoting, which was part of unspent funds for the previous financial year. And that went towards the upgrade of Health Center 2 to 3. Recently, we commissioned Adwir Health Center 3, which is right now providing maternal services and supporting the women and children. And the recommendation from the committee about the unspent funds for UGIFT and also for USMID. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chen.
Right Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. It would be good that when some votes are losing and others are gaining, maybe it would be good practice to know which votes are gaining if these are not additional resources. Another issue I would want to raise is that when the government is bringing these issues, we passed a loan of $636 million for scale-up project and electricity. And the recruitment was done, procurement was done, but there is no counterpart funding of 65 billion. So why didn't the Minister of Finance find it in their own wisdom to provide for the 65 million, such that now this scale-up program takes off, instead of now giving to the Pineti business? I thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Boka.
Yeah, thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity I rise to support the request on 3 grounds. One is on the Dr. Deep projects. My constituency is a beneficiary of that. We have a bridge that has a budget shortfall of close to 800 million. This will go a long way in bridging that gap. Secondly, in the health sector, we have a number of health facilities that have been recommended for upgrade by the UPDF Engineering Brigade. Unfortunately, because of delay in the release of funds, the works have not commenced. I also believe this supplementary budget will go a long way in providing the resources for the UPDF Brigade to be able to start work. Lastly, I have a health center, a seed secondary school, Gopele. Work has stalled for the last about 6 months because of, again, money that has been swept back. The reverting of this money will go a long way to ensure work commences and is completed timely. I submit and I therefore support to the report. Thank you.
Thank you. Herbert. Then Norman Zochero.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the Chair of the committee for the good report. Right Honorable Speaker, when you go through the submission of the committee, whereas the law requires a supplementary, whereas other factors are considered, the submission, you would actually see that none of what they submitted was not foreseen. None was not foreseen. They should, all what I read and what I went through was foreseen. So I want to urge Parliament that it's a tendency by government to bring in the budget what is non-priority and leave priorities. So that when they bring what is priority here, we see it as an emergency, as the requirement, and pass it under supplementary. So we need to scrutinize when we are passing these budgets. To Right Honorable Speaker, there is the 6 billion meant for the administrator of UTER. We had interrogated the administrator of UTER because I'm on an ad hoc committee investigating poster. And he told us that UTER, the administrator, is only required to take assets, not liabilities. Now, if you're an administrator who is taking up assets and not liabilities, why do you require supplementary to go and pay what? So we need actually to further understand why is this administrator requiring 6 billion, yet he was supposed to only take assets of Uganda Telecom, not liabilities. Because one of those liabilities was a payment for poster, which they have not paid. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Colleagues, in the public gallery this afternoon, we have a delegation of Karuguza Development Radio listeners from Buyanja County, Buyanja East County in Chivale District. They are represented by Honorable Kasaija Matia, Honorable Kugonza Imra, and Honorable Ksembo Nowerin Basemera. They've come to observe proceedings of this House. Join me in welcoming them. Thank you. Honorable Norman Zochero.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this House did pass a budget for this financial year within their powers. But all of us remember very well that when the budget was passed, technically, I don't know how to call it, whether technically, we were requested to adjust it. Technically, we were requested to adjust the budget or to change priority, which we did. And we lost a lot of vital investments in critical areas. All of us remember, these are areas that cater for health of the citizens of this country and the education, which is prime. We removed the money. When I heard about supplementary, in my dream I thought they are going to cater for those areas that we are removed. That's what I thought about. Secondly, it is clear, our colleague had made it clear that the supplementary budget is to cater for unforeseeable. Even if you look at it, they were seeable. Not so. They were seeable. Now I'm asking, those who sit in the supplementary budget, who is in their mind? Who is in their mind? Whom do they think for? For the people of Uganda? Secondly, Mr. Speaker, I have a hospital in my district built in 1969. It has enjoyed systematic decay. Since then, has been successfully decaying. The ceiling boards are made of thorns. Year in, year out, I hear supplementary budget for Pineti. I hear supplementary budget, we are giving that one. The hospital where I come from, the mothers are operated under thorns.
Sorry, Honorable Namuga.
Okay.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I just want to remind colleagues that I'm a former minister, shadow, for Science, Innovation and Technology in the alternative government, and currently the Deputy Chair, Park Central. Right, Honorable Speaker, this is an opportunity for Parliament to deeply think about how we hand a budget, especially in the line of implementation or execution. This has been a query in the reports of the Auditor General for the last 5 years. I stand to support the minority report that we don't pass the supplementary, Right Honorable Speaker. Reason one, Right Honorable Speaker, when you look at execution of the budget for this current financial year, that is at 72 trillion, we have made a projection of 57 trillion under the budget framework paper for next financial year, meaning that the budget is now reducing from 72 to 57. We are looking, the Auditor General clearly indicated the performance of the financial 23-24. The physical performance or actual performance was at 48 trillion, meaning we still operate on a realistic budget. We still have deficits under budgeting. Right, Honorable Speaker, I call upon colleagues. This is the time we have. The time is now to look into the budget and bring to shape the Honorable Musasizandi team, because their confusion is now making us to be called clowns by Muhoza and the team, because that is what we are. We cannot pass such a supplementary where we have been given opportunity, Right Honorable Speaker. This House has the mandate to appropriate. Now, Right Honorable Speaker, go back to the issue of domestic arrears. Right Honorable Speaker, the issue of domestic arrears, they have allocated some money to National Water and some money to the Internal Security Organization. That is close to 14 billion, and the other amount is close to... Right Honorable Speaker,
No,
when you look at the stock...
You don't allocate yourself time, please.
Sorry, Right Honorable Speaker, I request for a minute.
No, you
Kindly.
don't request when you're in a microphone.
Honorable Speaker.
Now, I don't want us to be clowns, because you have said we are clowns. So.
Right Honorable Speaker, when you look at the stock of domestic arrears that has accumulated from 10.3 trillion to 13.8, Right Honorable Speaker, we need an explanation from the Ministry of Finance. How do you intend to reduce the stock of domestic arrears? Because the private sector is very frustrated. You are here paying money to Boa Hospital where we were denied access. You are talking about a financial performance of 35%. You don't talk about the physical. How much has been executed physically versus the financial performance. Honorable colleagues, I want to move you. Don't pass this supplementary. This will be an indicator to the people out there that this is a parliament that is as serious and not clowns, as said by the Honorable the Chief of Defense Forces. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Mero.
Right Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. I was actually reacting to my colleague. I'm not clumsy. We are not clumsy in any way. This is not parliamentary. So for me, I was reacting to her, and you saw my reaction before I could stand up to say anything.
Thank you.
I beg that she
I think the record has to be put clear.
Yeah, it must be expunged.
If one considers themselves clowns, they cannot declare the whole house clown. So, but you can accept for you a clown, if you want.
Right Honorable Speaker, I did not say that we are clowns. I said if we pass the supplementary. That is what I said. So if we don't pass it, we shall not qualify.
Yeah. No, I think what the member is saying is that if we pass the supplementary, she will be a clown, because she cannot speak for herself. Okay? This is a matter of how you assess yourself and you determine. So, DP.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, at times I get surprised. Last year, we were told that government has stopped all MDAs from putting money in the budget for construction of their offices, because government is planning and is already in process to put up a one-stop center in Webaja. Now, hearing in the supplementary that monies has been put under the Ministry of Justice to construct a building in Naguru to house some MDAs. Probably we need to clarify this if government has backtracked on that mega plan of Webaja so that it is open for MDAs to start budgeting. Secondly, we hear that arts teachers are going on strike. If monies can be put in such, why we would have loved to hear that because there is a looming strike of arts teachers, money has been put aside to sort some of these problems. I thank you, Honorable.
Thank you, Honorable Santa.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, while there may be very valid reasons to support the supplementary budget in certain situations, the frequent use can be abused, Mr. Speaker. As we can see from this report presented by the chair today, Mr. Speaker, and the minority report by member, Honorable Semuju, I want to believe that as a parliament, we should not support this supplementary budget, Mr. Speaker, because one of the reasons is that it's non-compliance with the law. When you look at the criteria and the justification for the supplementary budget, they don't meet the call for this supplementary expenditure. Look at issues like Loboa. Look at the contribution to the Commonwealth and so many others. Mr. Speaker, we are an institution responsible for passing laws. We have passed laws here. The laws which clearly state the criteria for supplementary budget. And if this is not meeting the law that we pass, then what are we doing as the institution responsible for passing law? So for me, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to urge the House, I want to propose to this Parliament that for once, let's put the Minister and the committee, which is supposed to do work for us, to dissect every issue, to look at Ugandans and the needs for Ugandans, and then we pass this supplementary budget, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Ward.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to support the minority report. I equally say, in supplementary budget, how do we include development expenditure? I thought this development expenditure should be foreseen. These are foreseen. Why should we put them there? I need this standard gauge railway. I actually needed it yesterday for our people, but we cannot include it in a supplementary budget. Look at this classified expenditure. Are we really working for the people down there, or we want to work for a small population of Uganda? While the big population of Uganda looks on to us. Really, the ministers should spare us a little. When we go to health facilities, public health facilities, this even makes me to think back when an honorable member of this parliament, Honorable Bernadette Bigirwa, died. She was a movementist. She died in Mbarara Hospital because of no power. Probably if there was power, she could have been operated in good time to save her life in 7th Parliament. At least I was not in Parliament, but I got to know that very well. When it comes to social services, we are all affected equally, especially in health. Go from Mulago to health center to public.
Lope.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I saw you had picked some more colleagues. I was waiting for that, but you have summoned me. Right Honourable Speaker, I think that government needs to get organized. It's good the Prime Minister has finally walked in. We are in the budget process currently. There are things that are priority to you as government. Bring them now during the budget process. I don't know why you want to bring them through supplementaries, which is unforeseen, unexpected, an emergency situation of sorts. Supplementaries should contain things like Chitezi has happened, Bududa landslides, because that is unforeseen. It is an emergency situation that has happened. We would understand. But these issues, classified, State House, why don't you plan for it? So clearly supplementary budgets continuously get to be abused. Lubowa Hospital. Honourable Speaker, again government keeps taking Parliament for a ride. You do not want Parliament to establish what is happening at that site, but you keep coming back to Parliament to appropriate money to go to that site. Why? Why do you want to keep using Parliament? Because each time we try as Parliament, I went there with colleagues who were denied access, committee went there, it was denied access. I remember, Honourable Speaker, you were still government chief whip, I believe. You were one of those denied access. The Minister for Health was denied access to that place. What is there? What are you doing there exactly? That you want to hide away from us, but you want us to keep appropriating money. Honourable Speaker, I remember the Speaker of Parliament did say that she was going to request. Allow me to. Honourable Speaker, the Speaker of Parliament, when I raised these issues after going with colleagues, said that she was going to request you to go to Lubowa Hospital and then come back to Parliament and fill us in on what's happening. Maybe, right, Honourable Speaker, you might know, because we are constrained to keep passing money for a project we do not understand, we don't know about, government does not want us to supervise. It is not right. Finally, right, Honourable Speaker, I think that as government prioritizes these classifieds and so on and so forth, maybe it would make sense if this supplementary was about domestic areas. Honourable Speaker, we have so many Ugandans that have accorded services and products to government, and government has refused to pay. That money is over 10 trillion shillings. People's businesses are closing. They have acquired loans so that they can do business with government, but government doesn't want to pay. I don't know why you keep consuming these services and products and you don't want to pay. Maybe bring us supplementaries about that, because we should be more interested in our Ugandan business persons whose businesses are crumbling, their houses are being sold, people are dying because of pressure, and government doesn't want to pay. Why?
Thank you. Thank you, Rob. Maybe for the record, I went to Lubowa Hospital. Yes, I'm sorry. I forgot to tell you this, but I went to Lubowa Hospital. And honorable colleagues, I can tell you the work, in fact, I've gone there twice. The work is very impressive now. I've used the word now. And I think the committee, I saw the Committee on Presidential Affairs visited. So what I'm going to do, I will request Prime Minister to arrange also rope goes, because let me finish reporting what I saw. And when I went, I even had to interact with our young people who are working there. 700 are working, and they are working 24/7, even on Sunday, because one day visited on a Sunday, another day visited on a Wednesday. And the contractor whom they gave the contract, Technovia, told me that by the end of this April, they will have finished all structure works. That's, I'm reporting, and it's very important for me what I saw. So, yes, and Right Honorable, I will request you arrange for Lop to visit with his team. Let the Prime Minister first finish, then Honorable.
Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, Happy New Year. But Honorable Speaker, you have been spot on. We can arrange for the leader of opposition and other colleagues to visit. Colleagues, the work that is there now is at 61.8% complete. Physical. And I am reliably informed that all the equipment that is supposed to be used in that hospital is already manufactured and procured. Yes, the staff who are supposed to work in that hospital are still undergoing training in Italy. Right Honorable Speaker, I can confidently say as of now, we are at 61.8% complete. Colleagues, the contractor, like he has said, I have been there once. The contractor, the Technovia, is an international contractor. And they are working day and night. I request that we should give the money so that we complete this in April. I'm being sincere to you. You are going to go there yourselves. I have never, me, Nabanja, I am a strong Catholic. And you know that I call a spade a spade. I always, you know that for me, when it comes to truth, and honor the truth, I'll tell you the truth. So, I am being sincere to you. Let us support the contractor so that by April we have our hospital.
Yeah. Thank you. Right Honourable Prime Minister, I'll be linking with you. Okay, this is administrative, okay? Lop, I'm going to link up with the Prime Minister. We arrange, okay? Oh yeah, we arrange, you go, you visit the facility. Yes. Yes, what the procedure matter?
Mr. Speaker, the procedural issue I have, I even raised it when the Speaker said the Deputy Speaker will go to the war. I asked her, the Speaker, who is protected by the rules, cannot debate, how will the Deputy Speaker present a report? I asked it. We signed a contract, and the Minister of Health was supposed to represent Uganda. The Honorable Ruth Acheng, a medical person, and her team went there, they were chased. The contract was now put under the Prime Minister and Honorable Robin Anabanja, who I respect, but she's not a medical person. The Auditor General has told you the engineer has been stopped access. I am saying the Auditor General. And we are paying on the basis of information provided by the engineer of Penetti. Right, Honorable Speaker? Who do we believe? Can we be told why health? Because I was in this parliament when we are adopting this resolution and said health will represent us. It was chased. Now the Prime Minister said I am a Catholic. Me, I went there. Did we ask you to go and represent us?
Now, Right Honorable, as you come. Now, honorable colleagues, let's admit, okay, what I can admit, and really, it is an open secret that there were problems. Okay, we admit by the time they even shifted to the Prime Minister, I think they wanted someone more authoritative. We must admit there were problems, but in the last 6 months. The progress that has been made in the last 6 months, it's what Right Honourable Prime Minister, you need to showcase to members. Because if members really, because there is nothing, now even if you are at Zana, around Zana, even you got Zana, you just see the whole building, okay? So Right Honourable Prime Minister, showcase the good work you've managed to do since you took over.
Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable Members, I feel Honorable Semuju should be educated that I am the lead of government business in Parliament. Under Article 108, I'm not an intruder in this house. And so, I represent you, even you Semuju, Yes, I'm not quarreling, but I thought I should educate my brother. You know we are close. So, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, it is an open secret. I am going to go with my brother. We go together. Should we go there tomorrow? Now it's not possible. It's only that
you can
tomorrow,
do next week, right, Tony?
Let's do it next week.
Yeah.
Tuesday next week at 10, we are there. Me
Very
and
good.
you.
Very good. Good progress, okay? Thank you. Honorable Minister for Finance. Tuesday next week, we shall have a grand joint tour. I think you need to go together from here. Yeah, so that you make a convoy from here. So, no, don't meet as if you had no program. You go straight.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, let me take this opportunity to appreciate the Committee on Budget for considering our motion and recommending that the House passes it. I also want to thank Honorable Semuju for taking time to critically analyze our proposals line by line. Mr. Speaker, I want to respond on two main areas. Area one is on the compliance requirements of the law. Mr. Speaker, the law is very clear, as has been explicitly stated, that for an item to qualify for supplementary expenditure, it must be unavoidable, it must be unforeseeable, mainly these two. Mr. Speaker, we have run through these budgets together for quite some time. If I reduced every item in this budget to these two tests, if you don't pass on one, you will go on two and pass. If you don't pass on unforeseen and you subject it to unavoidable, you will pass. Sorry? When Honorable Namuga was speaking, I was attentively listening. Unavoidable items are those which occur in the financial year that cannot wait for another financial year. And unforeseen items are those at the time of budgeting which did not come to your attention but have arisen in the course of budget execution. Mr. Speaker, I now come to some members are even concerned and want to put me to an extent of telling them what classified is. Mr. Speaker, classified is classified. In our lines, they appear, it's a one-line item spending. Mr. Speaker, lastly, under Section 24 of the Act, they are provided for. Mr. Speaker, my last point is, State House, for the purposes of budgeting and planning, is not a residence. State House is an entity of government with functions and mandate which is clearly stipulated. There are a number of activities and functions which are implemented under State House, and whose budget is passed by, yes, clarification.
Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank the Honorable Musasizi. State House is created by the law on Presidential Emoluments and Benefits Act. Can you tell us in that law what mandate does State House have for you to give it money in the law?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my motion here and my mandate is not guided by any other law apart from the Public Finance Management Act. And whatever I am doing and whatever response I have given complies with the law which governs me in doing this work. State House is a vote. Mr. Speaker, I submit.
Thank you.
Oh,
thank you, Honourable Minister.
I think it is fair that I comment on domestic arrears. Mr. Speaker, it is true domestic arrears have been growing over the years on two accounts. Account one is failure for the accounting officers to control them, entering into contracts when there is no budget. Account two is our inability to raise all the required funds to finance the arrears. What have we done? First of all, the 10 trillion is stock. That stock is not verified. The verified arrears are about 2.8 to 3 trillion. Every year we crystallize by 200 billion in the budget, and the current arrears, the significant arrears under the road works, we are talking with Ministry of Works, and very soon we are coming up with a solution of settling the most critical areas under works. It is about, the figure is about 500 billion. Mr. Speaker, I submit.
Thank you. Thank you, Honourable Minister. Thank you, Honourable Member. Thank you, Chair and Shadow Finance Minister. Members, I put the question that the motion, Honourable Members, I put a question that the motion that the House resolves itself into a committee of supply to consider the supplementary schedule number 1 for the financial year 2024-2025 pursuant to Article 156, Clause 2 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, Section 25 of the Public Finance Management Act 2015, Rule 153 of the Rules of Procedure be adopted. Those in favor say aye to the content aye. The ayes have it.
Committee of Supply. Central Government Recurrent Expenditure.
Honourable Members, I propose a question that a sum of Uganda shillings 571 billion 225 million 165,419 shillings be provided to the various central government votes as supplementary recurrent expenditure for financial year 2024-2025. I now put the question that the total sum let me first put the question. Okay, Honorable Semuju.
I am seeking guidance. I thought we were going to deal vote by vote.
Really? That's honorable colleagues, really, we have been doing supplementary here. Okay? Yeah, I will not be able to go vote by vote. These votes are very clear. You can give your answer, which is a yes or no. You have that power, and I will take heed of that. I now put the question that a total sum of shillings 571,225,165,419 shillings be provided to the various central government votes as supplementary current expenditure for financial year 2023-2024. 2024-2025. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Central government development expenditure.
I now propose the question that a total sum of shillings 133,113,383,291 shillings be provided to the various central government votes as supplementary development expenditure for financial year 2024-2025. Procedure. Honorable.
Chair, I want to thank you. Chair, we are supplying. And procedurally, I seek your indulgence in this matter. Whether it is procedurally right for us to supply what is not evidently on record as pronounced from you. Honorable Speaker, when it comes to supply, every vote and figure must be mentioned, and a decision has to be taken. That's what supply means. It is not right, the way the finance minister wants to insinuate, that we can make an omnibus supply. You are creating a constitutional dilemma. So, Honorable Speaker, this is supply. And that should be the operational word. So it is safer for us to err on the side of mentioning figures because it is supply.
Thank you, Honorable. Thank you. Now, Honorable colleagues, I don't reinvent anything. I have been here. I have checked the Hansard. It's on several occasions here. Okay? Here. You have been doing it this way. I'm not reinventing anything. So when you're saying that I'm changing what? No. Please, Honorable colleague. It's unfair for a member to come here and insinuate that what I'm doing is out of practice of what you have been doing. So let me guide this way. Okay? If you have any issue with any of the blocks, okay, you can raise it as an amendment, and I put a question on it. Okay? So clarification is when there's someone on the floor. There is no one on the floor. Yes, Honorable Zemji, do you have an amendment on development expenditure, central government?
Mr. Speaker, you will. There is a colleague here who is behaving. You know, I did agriculture.
Honorable, you're on record. Now
yes,
you're bringing rumors.
Animals, when they are in heat period, they behave the way she's behaving.
No, Honorable, that's an parliamentary language.
I have not said, I have said animals.
No,
not an animal.
No, you said there is a colleague who is behaving.
Mr. Speaker, I have an amendment.
No, that one.
I am sorry.
Let's first clear that one.
I withdraw. I am sorry.
Thank you. Honorable Semju.
Mr. Speaker, let the member take comfort. I have said sorry and I withdraw.
Thank you, Honorable Semju.
I have an amendment, Mr. Speaker. 2 amendments. That we don't approve the money for RUBOA and money for State House.
Thank you. I put a question that Honorable Semju's amendments be adopted. Those in favor say to the contrary, nay. The nays have it. Honorable colleagues, I now put the question that a total sum of Uganda shillings 133 billion 113 million 383,291 shillings be provided to the various central government votes as supplementary development expenditure for financial year 2024-2025. Those in favor say aye, to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Local government recurrent expenditure.
I propose that a total sum of Uganda shillings 100 billion 964 million 508,422,000 be provided to the various local government votes as supplementary recurrent expenditure for financial year 2024-2025. Honourable members, I now put the question that a total sum of Uganda shillings 100 billion 964 million 508,422 shillings be provided to the various local governments votes as supplementary recurrent expenditure for financial 2024-2025. Those in favor say aye, to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Local government development expenditure.
I propose that the question that a total sum of Uganda shillings 175 billion 166 million 569,200 shillings be provided to the various local government votes as supplementary development expenditure for financial 2024-2025. Honourable members, I now put the question that a total sum of Uganda shillings 175 billion 166 million 569,200 shillings be provided to the various local government votes as supplementary development expenditure for financial year 2024-2025. Those in favor say aye, to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Statutory votes recurrent.
Honourable members, I propose the question that a total sum of shillings 70 billion 139 million 325,920 shillings be provided to the various statutory votes as supplementary statutory recurrent expenditure for financial year 2024-2025. I now put the question that a total sum of shillings, Uganda shilling, 70 billion 139 million 325,920 shillings be provided to the various central government votes as supplementary statutory recurrent expenditure for financial 2024-2025. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Total recurrent expenditure for financial year 2024-2025.
I propose the question that a total sum of Uganda shillings 742 billion 328 million 999,761 shillings be provided to the various votes as supplementary recurrent expenditure for financial 2024-2025. Honourable colleagues, I now put the question that a total sum of Uganda shillings 742 billion 328 million 999,761 shillings be provided to the various votes as supplementary recurrent expenditure for financial 2024-2025. Those in favor say aye, to the contrary no. The ayes have it. I don't know why you're voting even before.
Total development expenditure for financial year 2024-2025.
I propose a question that a total sum of Uganda shilling 308 billion 279 million 952,491 shillings be provided to the various votes as supplementary development expenditure for financial 2024-2025. Honourable colleagues, I now put the question that a total sum of Uganda shillings 308 billion 279,952,491 shillings be provided to the various votes as supplementary development expenditure for financial 2024-2025. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Supplementary expenditure for the financial year 2024-2025, recurrent and development expenditures.
I propose the question that a grand total sum of Uganda shillings 1,608,952,252 shillings be provided to various votes as supplementary recurrent and development expenditure for financial 2024-2025. Honourable members, I now put the question that a total sum of Uganda shillings 1,050,608,952,252 shillings be provided for as the total supplementary recurrent and development for financial year 2024-2025. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Motion for the House to resume.
Minister for Finance.
Right Honorable Chair, I beg to move a motion that the House do resume and the committee of the whole House reports thereto.
Honourable Minister, it's a committee of supply. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I beg to move a motion that the House do resume and the committee of supply reports thereto.
Honourable members, I now put the question that the House do resume and the committee of supply reports thereto. Those in favor say and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Report from the Committee of Supply.
Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to report that the Committee of Supply has considered the supplementary schedule, the supplementary expenditure schedule number 1 for financial year 2024-2025 and passed it with no amendments.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Motion for adoption of the report from the Committee of Supply.
Honourable Minister.
Right Honourable Speaker, I beg to move a motion that the report from the Committee of Supply be adopted.
Honourable members, I now put the question that the report of the Committee of Supply be adopted by this House. Those in favor say and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it. Thank you. Congratulations, Honourable Minister. Congratulations, Chair and Honourable members. Honourable Minister, I appreciated your statement when you thanked the Honourable Somju for analyzing in detail your submission in terms of the budget, the supplementary budget proposals. It's very, very important that we take the report he submitted and we pick critical areas he raised and we look into them as we are coming into the next budgeting. Honourable colleagues, I want to thank you for addressing this issue. Next item. I think we should do Prime Minister's time, okay, so that we are able to address the concerns which members have.
Item number 10 on the order paper, Prime Minister's time.
Why don't we start with item number 9 quickly and then we go 10.
Item number 9 on the order paper, statement by the Right Honourable Prime Minister on government business for succeeding week, 28th-30th January 2025, pursuant to Rule 28 of the Rules of Procedure.
Honourable Prime Minister.
Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable Members, I move under Rule 28 of our Rules of Procedure that requires me, as lead of government business, to make a statement in this House regarding the government business of the succeeding week. I'm therefore submitting the following business for the succeeding week. 1. Energy Efficiency and Conservation Bill 2024. Number 2, the Animal Disease Amendment Bill 2024. Number 3, the Labor Unions Amendment Bill 2024. And the National Social Security Fund Voluntary Contributions and the Benefits Regulations 2024. Right Honourable Speaker, I beg to move.
Thank you, Right Honourable. Next item.
Item 10 on the order paper, Prime Minister's time.
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable Members, we received a number of questions. One was from Honourable Osuru Morin, District Woman Representative Arua City. And her prayer is what are government's plans to end the vice of confiscating people's national identity cards as security for loans by money lenders. Right Honourable Speaker, my response is that the growing practice of confiscating national identity cards as collateral for loans by money lenders violates the rights and dignity of our citizens. It also poses a serious threat to national security and social stability. The national identity card is now a critical document that serves as proof of identity, nationality, and citizenship. It is essential for assessing a wide range of services. However, there has been a disturbing increase in the number of reports where money lenders are taking these vital documents as collateral for loans. This illegal practice leaves the borrowers vulnerable and deprives them of their most basic identification document, thereby leading to further financial and social marginalization. Right Honourable Speaker and honourable colleagues, when a national identity card is confiscated, it severely limits an individual's ability to participate in various livelihood activities. Without their ID, citizens cannot open bank accounts, receive government services, or even verify their identity in various circumstances when the situation warrants. This practice disproportionately affects the most vulnerable members of our society, including the poor, elderly, and uneducated, who may not fully understand their rights or the legal implications of surrendering their IDs in this manner. Right Honourable Speaker and honourable members, confiscation of national IDs may, by money lenders, open the door for exploitation and abuse. Individuals who find themselves unable to repay their loans are often subjected to harassment, intimidation, and further financial extortion. This cycle of exploitation exacerbates poverty and undermines efforts to foster social and economic development in our communities. Right Honourable Speaker, and honorable colleagues, government is committed to protecting the rights of all its citizens and ensuring that the national identity cards remain or retains its intended purpose as an enabler for easy access to services, not exploitation. To address this issue, government has undertaken the following measures. 1, legal framework. As you are aware, there are various laws, including the Constitution, that create special or specific rights as well as obligations regarding this subject. Article 29(2)(c) provides that every Ugandan shall have a right to a passport or other travel document, in this case a national ID, which is also a recognized travel document, and thereby or therefore nobody has the right to deprive a holder of a national ID of the same. Section 77B of the Registration of Persons Act, Cap 332, provides that a person who without authority deprives or dispossesses a holder of his or her national identity card commits an offense, as you all know. Further, Section 77E of the Registration of Persons Act 332 provides that a person who unlawfully keeps or takes possession of an identity card that belongs to another person commits an offense and is liable on conviction to a fine not exceeding 48 currency points, which is Uganda shillings 960, or imprisonment not exceeding 3 years or both. Section 69(3) of the Registration of Persons Act provides that an issued national identity card remains the property of government. A money lender, therefore, has no authority to deprive or dispossesses a person of his or her national identity card. In a bid to enforce the above provisions, government has further enacted the Tier 4 microfinance institutions and money lenders regulations, statutory instrument number 8 of 2018, which explicitly prohibits the demand or acceptance of a national identity card as collateral for any money advanced to a borrower as a loan. That Honorable Speaker, therefore, any money lender found in violation of these laws and regulations is in a breach of the law and is convicted, and if convicted, is liable to suffer severe penalties, including the revocation or non-renewal of their operating licenses, payment of fines, and imprisonment. Number 2, upgrade of the national identity card by introducing. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, you are aware that NIRA is in the process of upgrading the national identity card by rolling out digital or electronic identity cards, EIDs. One of the advantages of the introduction of EIDs is that it will combat the troubling practice of confiscating national identity cards as collateral for loans by money lenders. The introduction of EIDs will reduce dependency on physical cards for identification purposes. With digital verification, citizens will be able to authenticate their identity using electronic means, online platforms. This planned shift reduces the risk of physical IDs being used as collateral, since digital identity verification does not require the physical handover of the card. Government is cognizant of the fact that the majority of its citizens do not yet have access to internet and smartphones to enable the immediate implementation of a universal digital ID system. However, when this happens, it will be the ideal solution to decisively deal with this challenge. Number 3, public awareness campaign. The government is undertaking nationwide public awareness campaigns to educate citizens about their rights and the dangers of surrendering their national identity cards as collateral. Government agencies such as NIRA, Uganda Police Force, and the Uganda Microfinance Regulatory Authority, UMRA, have undertaken several media engagements to create awareness in the public about illegal acts of misuse of a national identity card as collateral. Number 4, strengthening oversight and enforcement. Government has stepped up enforcement of the law by arresting and prosecuting persons involved in this illegal practice. For example, in Irira, it was reported by the police in the North Choga region that operations conducted on 5th August 2024 within Irira city targeting money lending companies recovered 149 national identity cards, and this helped us to engage and inform the public on the same. And number 5, engagement with stakeholders. Government, like I'm doing now, will continue to engage with key stakeholders, including Parliament, financial institutions, other political leaders, civil society, and community leaders to ensure a collaborative approach to ending this practice. This will include dialogues and consultations aimed at identifying and addressing the root cause of this issue. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, confiscation of national identity cards as a security to loans is a deplorable practice that must be stopped immediately. Government is fully committed to protecting the rights and dignity of our citizens by ensuring that their national identity card retain their integrity and remain in their possession and are used only for their intended purpose. To achieve this, citizens themselves must cooperate by avoiding this illegal practice as much as possible, or reporting to authorities to retrieve the confiscated national identity cards. Question number 2 is from Honorable Ocheru Jimbrick Norman, Abim District. Says that Abim Hospital was constructed between 1969 to 1971 during Obote I regime and enjoyed decay up to today. The hospital is dilapidated, this is according to the member, to the extent of becoming non-functional. That every time government allocates money to its renovation, it is made at the tail end of the financial year and gets caught up and swept back to the consolidated fund before being utilized. His questions are 2. 1, that why is Abim Hospital the only one in the country that suffers with budget cuts and its money swept back into the consolidated fund? The second question is that who decides which hospital takes the first call on the releases? Honorable Speaker and members, this is my response. Abim General Hospital was constructed in 1970s, and like any other general hospital that was constructed during that period, it needs serious renovation of its infrastructure and expansion to cater for the increased population and demand for health services. The estimated cost of renovating and expansion of this hospital is about 40 billion Uganda shillings. However, government has been allocating funds for critical infrastructure renovation of these hospitals, and ABIM General Hospital received 2 billion for uplifting key service delivery units to improve service delivery. The funds were extended to the district local government, which failed to provide accountability, and the IGG took over the issue of investigation. Additionally, the Ministry of Health has submitted to the Ministry of Finance and Economic Development a project proposal to renovate, refurbish all general hospitals in that category. The Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development has committed is committed to mobilize funds to undertake these capital intensive projects in the medium term. Question number 3 came from Honorable George Didi, Obonji constituency. There is a persistent border conflict between Obonji.
Honorable colleague, just right, Honorable. Prime Minister has time, no interruption to the Prime Minister, no clarification. Only the leader of opposition has a right of reply. That's how you designed your rules. Rule 41.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. The other question is from Honorable George Didi, Obonji constituency, that there is a persistent border conflict between Obonji and the Yumbe district that has been raised on this floor of Parliament as an urgent matter of national importance without action taken by government. And his prayer is, what steps have my office taken to fast track the sustainable resolution of the border conflict between Obonji and Yumbe districts, among other similar district border conflicts in West Nile, that have resulted in loss of lives, property, and disruption of service delivery and livelihood of citizens in the affected communities. My response, Right Honorable Speaker, is that government constituted a task force comprising of technical officers from the Ministry of Local Government and the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development to study and resolve all border conflicts in local governments. The Ministry of Local Government is in the process of mobilizing resources to conduct border survey and the opening exercise of all conflicting local governments, including the boundary between Obonji and the Yumbe district. That Honorable Speaker, this exercise is planned to be implemented by the end of this quarter. Honorable Kamuntu Moses, MP Rubanda, County in Rwanda district, that the Batwa group of people were evicted from their ancestral land in the forests in 1991 for wildlife conservation, and since then they have suffered severe socio-economic challenges, including displacement, poverty, malnutrition, lack of access to education and health care. According to 2022 Uganda Demographic and Health Survey, 40% of the children suffer from malnutrition and only 20% of the population have access to health care services. The report indicates that 70% of the population, according to him, live below the poverty line, while 60% of the households, according to the member, experience chronic food insecurity, and 17% of the women being illiterate. These indicators reflect the urgent need for government's intervention. And his prayer is that can government update this House on when is government providing health facilities closer to Batwa to increase increase access to health care. My response, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, is that Uganda has a number of indigenous people. For example, Batwa, the Iki, Beneti, among others. The Batwa live in the districts of Kanungu, Kisoro, Rubanda, and Kasese, along the forested border with the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC. The Batwa population is approximately 6,700 as of 2022, according to the Uganda Bureau of Statistics. A study done in Kanungu district shows that the proportion of Batwa with geographic access to the nearest health facility by walking within 30 minutes is around 44%, increasing to, we hope it will increase to 90% within 60 minutes, 1 hour, and to 100 within 120 minutes or 2 hours. The most geographically accessible Batwa settlements are Buhoma, Byumba, Kitaliro, and Karehe. Using all modes of transport, the residents of the above 4 settlements could reach their nearest health facilities within less than 10 minutes. This accounted for only 41.7% Batwa geographic access coverage. The residents of Batwa settlement of Lulangala, Bikuto, Kebiremu, Mukongoro, and Kihembe could reach their nearest health facility within less than 60 minutes. That's 1 hour. In a scenario combining all modes of transport. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, the above findings are crucial for health managers, especially at the local level, for planning health care outreach services and health promotion campaign, notably in Kanungu district and similar regions where populations live in hilly and inaccessible terrain like Kanungu district. I provided a table below that shows the sub-counties where Batwa are resident and health facilities where they can access services. It is on page 10, 11, and 12. As clearly shown in the tables above, these areas are well serviced with health facilities. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, a multi-sectoral approach is, however, needed to address the social and cultural barriers so as to enable the Batwa people access services and reduce poor health outcomes. I got another question, number 5, from Kiza Kenneth, Nyendwoha, Bujenje County. He says that the Hoima Kinyara Kafu High Voltage Power Line is a planned electricity transmission line designed to connect the high voltage substation at Kabale, Buseruka Sub-County, Hoima District, to another high voltage substation at Kafuna Kasongola District. The power line traverses Kinyara Sugar Works in Masindi District, providing critical infrastructure to enhance power supply. This power line project aims to, 1, connect the region to the Karuma Hydro electric power station, that is 600 megawatts, through the substation at Kafu, improving grid reliability in the western region. Number 2, according to him, is to support cogeneration at Kinyara Sugar Works, increasing energy production from 14 megawatts to 45 megawatts. Number 3, evacuate power from Hoima's oil fields, including the proposed 100 megawatt natural gas-fired Nzizi thermal power station, and supply power to the Hoima metropoles, including the Uganda oil refinery, the Kabale Hoima International Airport, Hoima City, and the Uganda terminus of the East African crude oil pipeline. His prayer that the Hoima Chinyara Kafu 220 kV high voltage power line was initiated to significantly enhance electricity supply in Uganda's western region and support critical infrastructure projects in the oil and energy sectors. However, is my response that the project developer